I'm Ricardo Juarez.
Hi, I'm Julia.
I'm Lynn Malone, and I'm not.
And I am not
And I'm not
necessarily
political. We're about to start.
This is a journey.
And welcome back to Not Necessarily Political. We have our very special guest, Mr. Jonathan Austin, the former president of the Birmingham City Council. Like, you got a question, Ryan?
Quick question. I don't know if it was the media or it was. There's no secret that you and Mayor Bell, former Mayor Bell, was not necessarily the best of friends. What do you think you could have done with Mayor Woodford now that, since you didn't have that fighting, I guess, going on? What do you think you could have done as a president or just a councilman?
Well, number one, that's a good question. There's a lot of issues with Bell and his administration, and it was unfortunate that it got played out into the media the way that it did, because you're always going to have disagreements. You're always going to have problems and all of that. That's what happens in any relationship, period. It's always going to be disagreement. But the way that it was pitched to the media, this wasn't something that they were just in your face every day.
Right.
That whole fight or battle that looked or appeared to be playing out in the media was something that was promoted, by the mayor, by Bell and his administration. So, because what their whole goal was, they wanted, as he thought, that he was going to get council members that he wanted and get a council that he wanted. And if you remember back, he made a statement. I can't remember when it was, but he said, and maybe when he had announced he was running, that he was going to let people know who he was supporting for council. You remember that?
Absolutely.
And so, he had a very, very extremely perception of himself and his influence with the council and the voters as a whole, that it was an inflated perception, extremely inflated, that it caused he and his office to lose focus. But all of that, the issues happened long before the announcement for running for office, because what would I do different? And what do I believe that the new council should do different is that on day one, they need to communicate and they need to support Randall. They have so many challenges ahead of them: pension, the healthy food incentive program, the neighborhoods, the continued development that's taking place downtown, and how you try to develop some or create some more equality between the development that's taking place downtown and development that's not taking place in the neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I really wanted to see, and what I would like to see with Randall, is that he communicates to the council, regardless of the way that Bill and his administration promoted the dysfunction and the conflicts and things that took place between the council and the mayor.
Right.
He could not and would never be able to say Bill that he didn't get 99.9% of things that he presented to us.
Right.
So, in spite of all of the things that his administration were doing to promote this dysfunction, bickering, and all of that, myself as president of the council still was able to make sure that everything he presented to us got done. It didn't happen exactly the way that he wanted it to, but it happened nonetheless, and that's ultimately what you want to see. And so with Randall, we can still we as a city can still get to realizing all these projects and things that we need to do in our city, whether it's downtown or the neighborhoods. It just that we hopefully will not have to get there the way that we did while I was there as president. And all that takes is communication. I mean, it's very, very simple. It's just Randall has to walk up and down the hallways, talking to the council members, going into their offices, meeting with them, and just telling them that, hey, this is what I want, this is what I'm trying to do, what do you think about this? Or, what is it, council member, that you want? What do you need to do, and let me help you in your district as well. You know, but that's how that works, because the council and the mayor have to work together to get it done.
It's just amazing to me that it could be, you know, and I won't say tensions, but just whatever it was. You guys are right next door to each other.
Right.
I mean, you see each other every day, basically. And I mean, what advice? And you know, Miss Abbott has been there a long time. She's seen a lot. She's seen a lot.
Yeah.
What advice would you give her? You know, just coming out and saying, okay, well, we got a new mayor, new council president. Hey, you know, bickering is always the most easy thing to promote as far as
It is for the media.
You know, if you guys are down there singing Kumbaya, then nobody wants to cover you.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, but how would she avoid that? You know, you think?
You know, it just
It's
boils down
hard.
to communication.
Yeah.
You know, people are not going to agree on everything anyway.
Absolutely.
They're just not going to agree. You just don't. But that doesn't mean that you have to be disagreeable.
Right.
And you know, and you don't have to do everything, any means you can to promote. You know, again, divisiveness and division,
Right.
and mess.
Right.
Just being messy.
Just being messy.
And all the way to solve that is just to talk.
Yeah.
But everyone has to be willing to do that. I know that Randall has certainly, that was one of the main points of his campaign, was that he was going to work and communicate with the council. And so if he does that, and with the council members that I know that are there, I believe that he will be able to be very successful. And as a city, we'll be able to begin to move beyond the same soup, just repeated politics. You know, and have some actually, like you said, 21st century Birmingham.
Totally. You did graduate law school, right?
No, I'm in law school right now.
Working on it now.
I'm working on it right now. I stopped working on a constitutional law research paper that I'm doing to come here and talk to y'all.
Appreciate you.
Hey, man, we earned it, man.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I'm happy to do it. I want to be involved. I want to be engaged. Being in politics and being an elected official is not, a desire of mine any longer.
Right.
And it's not that I'm mad or anything. I'm very happy.
No more?
I didn't say no more, but I'm saying not any longer. I mean, I'm in law school. I want to graduate from law school.
Gotcha.
And practice law. I want to graduate from law school, pass the bar, and practice law.
Gotcha.
Now, gentlemen, there is a question on the floor for Mr. Austin there. What can the city council do better to communicate with the public?
That's a good question.
That's a
I
very
think
good
that, again, there are so many things that we were trying to do while I was there as president, like making sure that we are sending things to people in the mail, being more active in social media, and making sure that people understand what we're doing, trying to make sure that the everything we were doing at the council was being open and transparent. And so I think that what the council can do better is just push for, be more active and try to push to the administration, the new administration, to work collectively on an Office of Public Information that will disseminate the information in one unified message and form for all of the citizens. Because the mayor's office has an Office of Communications, the council has an Office of Communications or Office of Public Information, and so you got this and this. As president, I tried to make sure that our message was consistent. And if there was something that we differed on, if it was something that we were not on the same page with, I just didn't talk about that. I only talked about, because I don't want to say, well, we're doing this, but he's doing that. When it comes to budgets, of course, we have to present the budget to the public and show what has been presented to us and what we are presenting back to the mayor. I mean, that's part of the law, the Mayor and Council Act. So of course, you're going to see something different there. But overall, it was not a coordinated effort. If we can coordinate these efforts, you will reduce the amount of money that the city is spending. You will be able to reach a much larger audience, and you will be able to more effectively communicate the message and drive that home, whatever it is that you're trying to do, if the mayor and the council work together. So I believe that's the way that the council can really increase and enhance the way it communicates with the public.
So I guess it's almost saying that you need a public, communications officer that does both, for the mayor and for the council.
There and yes, but the council, the city of Birmingham, the mayor's office, the council, and the municipal court, different branches of government.
Gotcha.
You got legislative, executive, and judicial, right?
Exactly.
Just like it in the United States,
United
right?
States, right.
So they are different branches and they have different functions, but their goals should be the same.
Absolutely.
And that's what needs to
Absolutely.
be communicated to the public.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you're no longer the city council, and I've had an opportunity to have a couple of conversations with you off the record. So I got a secret question I want to ask you, and then once you answer that, kind of tell the people who is Jonathan Austin. Ready for the question?
Yeah.
They say, ask him about the time he told me to grab the electric dog fence and see if it was on.
That was Josh. Yeah, we had electric dog fence when we were little kids, and me and my brother Jay, who's a year older than me, were getting, we set it up. My dad did for our dogs that kept roaming the neighborhood and getting out. So we set up a fence, and it won't sting, but it'll be like almost like a vibrate or something. You're like, zzz. It's like, whoa. So Josh, I don't know how that happened exactly, but he kept going over there and messing with the fence, like throwing stuff on it. I was like, Josh, you better leave that alone. Tell me it's on. And he was like, he said, I don't believe. I said, well, go touch it and see. So he grabbed it.
Did he do it?
Yeah, he did. He was like, oh. I said, I told you. He was like, oh, it's not that bad. I said, leave that thing alone. Because you can turn it up or down.
Right.
The voltage. So, yeah, that's my baby brother, man. Josh is so funny.
So who is Jonathan Austin? Where is Jonathan Austin going in the future?
Man, I'm just a man trying to make it in this world like everybody else. That's
Now, we
why.
have a question from the floor before you answer that, guys, if you don't mind, but
Sure.
there's a question on the floor that says, why is the budget on the city council agenda again?
Oh, that's another good question. The budget, so the city council passed a law back in 2000, I think it was December 2015 or 16. And one of the things that we put in the law was that if we have an item that comes before the council and the council takes an action on it, not to pass it, but any other action, not to pass or fail, or not to pass it, but if it takes any other action, then depending on what that action is, will determine when that item can be brought back before the council, right? And that's a law that the city council passed in, I think, December 2015, maybe 2016. I can't remember which year it was. But, and we passed that law because you kept seeing things like the Kingston Fire Station come up every week after week after week. Like it came up 8 times in a row.
Wow.
And so we're like, come on, this is ridiculous, And it was again one of those things I mentioned earlier about how the administration would try to make the council look bad to influence the elections, which obviously didn't work. Right. So the council took action on the budget, the one that we currently have in the city, several weeks ago. And the action that we took was that we would send it to or refer it to committee of the whole. The law has in it some provisions if you want to take the item out of the committee before the time that it's supposed to come out. The law says when you refer it to a committee, I think it has 21 days, it might have 30 days before the committee has to take some sort of action before it automatically can come back, right? So I don't know where we are in that time, but I do understand, which I haven't read the agenda, so I don't know what it exactly says, but I know that the mayor is placing it back on the agenda with something in the description that says he's asking it to be disposed of from that committee. So he's following the law. That's what I'm giving you a history.
Right.
He's following the law that we passed. It looks that way. I haven't seen it, but from what I was told, I hadn't seen the new agenda. What I was told, if that's what it is in there, then he would be following the law as it was written. So the council has, number one, the responsibility of either passing the budget, delaying it, or leaving it in the committee. And so I think that what really needs to happen, though, is that the council wait on that budget until the new mayor gets there. We don't have a budget in place right now. New mayor will be here in what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks, right.
So why would the council pass a budget and our new mayor hasn't had a chance to deal with it and look at it? And we're almost at mid-year anyway. So we can just make some changes to the budget that we currently have at mid-year, if that's what our new mayor wants to do, and if the council wants to do that too, as long as they all agree. Which is, I think that's what they should do. So that way it gives the new mayor time to get in there and see how the budget is, and then at mid-year he can make all the different types of adjustments he needs to make, to the budget. So I don't know why. I can't speak to why the current mayor has placed the budget back on the agenda, but I have a lot of, I can come up with a lot of reasons why he would have it on there. Like, for example, legal contracts, professional services, things that don't have to come back before the council, but they just have to be in the budget. And he can do that with the current budget, and he can sign contracts and do all those things without anybody knowing about it. We put a law in place along with that law that I just mentioned earlier, at the same time, that required the mayor to report to us on a quarterly basis what was those contracts that were being entered into outside of what he was bringing before the council, and the payments, and let us see the contracts, all of that.
Basically checks and balances.
Checks and balances.
Yeah.
The council, as up until probably this day, has not seen but one report. Has not been provided but one report.
I know I'm a little slow, but quarterly means every 3 months. Right?
Correct.
Wow.
So, I think and I hope that the council is going to support the new mayor,
Right.
and support the people, and what the people said, by giving him time, the new mayor, to look at the budget and put the plan that the people elected him in place.
Right. Once again, I want to also mention our sponsor, which is Jasmine Cafe right out there in Pratt City, London. You got the number, right?
205-798-8833.
And y'all just pause for a couple seconds. We'll be right back. We're not necessarily looking.
I'm Abdul Al-Wahid, and I'm not necessarily political.
Hey man, the Jasmine Cafe. Man, I heard they got some good soul food up here though.
Are you deep in debt? Tired of phone calls and credit harassment? Call the law offices of Yeshiva Glenn Blanchard, LLC today. Let our firm help you choose the right path to get debt-free.
I'm attorney Yeshiva Glenn Blanchard. Let me get you out of debt today. Call me at 205-307-9835.
I was over $50,000 in credit card debt, but I called attorney Glenn Blanchard and she saved the day. And now I'm debt-free.
Get out of debt now at nomoredebtalabama.com.
Facebook Live.
Yes, special guest. Jonathan, the former City Council President Jonathan Austin, but now, like he says, he's Jonathan Austin. Forget the elected official. He's a guy, regular guy. He wants to make a difference, and that's what we love about it. You got a question?
Yeah.
No. You never had a question?
No, this guy is he's actually a really good guy.
Right.
I see the growth that he's doing, and to be the second most powerful man in the city, to now just being you again. I had a conversation with your brother. He said, man, I just enjoy the fact that now I can just be with my brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he don't have to have all the stress on him anymore. So what do you do for fun?
And right now, the most fun I have is studying in law school. That's, you know, that's enough, man. I mean, it's a lot of work, you know, reading and all of that. So I'm doing that. I mean, you know, walk my dogs.
You got a big old dog too. You got that big old dog, man. I've not seen him downtown. Like, damn, you got a big dog, man.
Two.
You got two now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which one is he? Was he white or
He was
brown?
white.
Yeah, I have one that's brown. That's twice as high.
Jesus, man.
Twice as high.
What breed?
A South African bull.
Yeah, big one. You know, it's a taboo issue in Alabama, and everybody listening, it's always taboo. But we here, we want to bring it up because, you know, the rest of the country is profiting from this situation. Just in Colorado alone, they had over $1 billion, right? I mean, in revenue. And what I'm talking about is marijuana. Everybody thinks that it's such a bad thing. It's a terrible thing. It shouldn't be legalized or whatever. I just wanted to know, what is your take on it?
Oh man, I'm you know, that you're asking me what do I do for fun? You know, I think that
let it all out, baby. Let it all out.
This gentleman right here is the king of I don't know. So if he's finna talk, I'm listening.
Hey, he is not
I don't know.
I wouldn't even go say I don't know. You said, what do you do for fun? Well, you know, I would love to see Birmingham and to a greater extent the state of Alabama legalize marijuana.
Absolutely.
I think that you know, I know that it is it could help solve a lot of issues financially for the city and for the state. I've talked to several of our Republican legislators about it recently. I was like, it's an election year coming up, you know this and this and this. You need to take away the food tax.
Right.
And they was like, but we're gonna have a $350 million hole in the budget. I said, well, you can plug that with just by legalizing marijuana. Absolutely. I said, why don't you just do that?
Absolutely.
And they're like, you know, we can't do that as Republicans stay. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I said that I believe that you got to do something instead of keep borrowing from the education trust fund and all that. So I think that, and plus, there are a lot of people that need it, whether it's for cancer or whatever other types of treatments or ailments that they have, that this would help with. It will reduce, and then think about the fact that so many people get caught up in the justice system from getting caught smoking a blunt or a joint. You know, I mean, come on. You know, that's really,
yeah.
You know,
I'm going to jail because I rolled a blunt.
It's crazy, and it just is the punishment is definitely outweighs the charges that people are charged with. You know, you charged for having a blunt and you go to jail for a year or something. That's just ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
So no, I believe that the state needs to do it, and Birmingham can once again be the leader. I was working on some legislation that would we can't technically decriminalize it, but what we could do is work out a way to reduce like the fines or how people are even fined. Right. So while you couldn't make it necessarily legal, you could say, you know, the police don't have to go and write them a ticket, or they could just write them some type of citation for something and just not even have that.
So the good old boys try to say it's a game. You know, you always hear that, man. It's going to lead you to cocaine. How? Yeah.
But
I mean, just tell me how.
There's no link between that. There's no way that they can even halfway substantiate that. Mm-hmm. There's no way that you could even halfway substantiate. I mean,
it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I know everybody that's listening out there, you know, it's taboo. You're like, oh my God, they're talking about marijuana. Yes, we are.
What's the difference between Colorado and Birmingham?
Absolutely.
I mean, what's the difference?
Absolutely.
Progressive-minded people.
Right.
You know, you got people in Colorado that are actively active in the process politically, and that's what happens when you got people that think like that. Then they go out and get their representatives who they want to represent them because they believe that they stand for the same thing, and then that representative job is to go and do what's in the best interest of the people that they're elected to represent. And so people in Colorado, they think like that. And they're obviously half the country thinks like that. Alabama's we're so far behind, you know, even with not just our policies, but the way we think about things.
Absolutely.
And so we've got to get more people, and that's not necessarily mean young people, of course, but more people in general who believe that we can be different and not be ashamed to be different. Right. And that is something that that I hope, and you know, you gotta have politicians who aren't afraid to speak out about it.
You gotta have that.
You know,
You
and
gotta
I, you know,
have that.
people know me, I've never been afraid to speak out about anything, and I won't be. Because I'm gonna speak my mind and tell you what I think, and how I feel about it. It may not be right, but it's the way I think. And I don't think politicians should be coy about where they stand on issues. And so, you know, I hope that we get it together here in Birmingham and be the leader again in the state. And I tell you one thing, the state legislature is not gonna go in and do anything in Montgomery in the spring in their next legislative session. But if Birmingham passes a ordinance that some kind of way addresses marijuana in our city limits, I guarantee you they're gonna act.
Oh yeah, they're gonna definitely jump in, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like me being in Florida this weekend. First thing I did was ran and grabbed me a couple scratch-off tickets. You know, just to kind of, you know what I mean? Everybody, it's all so taboo. It's like, oh no, we don't want to gamble. We're not gambling. Well, how just the hell we are? We already gambling. Like you go to the dog trail. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say the first thing you did when you got down there to grab you a couple of joints. I was like, they already down there.
No, because man, we're straight on that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly had me on that. Let me say that.
He's snitching, y'all. He's snitching. I told you, get the secrets away.
He's another secret giver, man.
He giving them secrets.
I know it's just you.
No, it's you.
But on a serious note, man, I mean the lottery. Why not?
We need to have
marijuana.
Why not? I mean, you know, really. We're gonna eventually be surrounded by states who have legalized it.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be surrounded by states who are allowing gambling. And we're going to be surrounded by states who are more progressive than Alabama.
Well, wait, Jonathan, wait, you said allow gambling. Let's go to the dog track right now. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
We're going to gamble. We are going to gamble. Let's go to Greene County. We are going to gamble. So it's like the most hypocritical thing I ever heard in my life, man. It's like, go ahead and leave it. Even when your grandma was hollering bango, bango, right? Bango. That's gambling.
Yeah.
They get money. That's why the old ladies down there. They ain't down there just to play with them balls.
It all comes down to economics.
Absolutely.
Because cigarettes actually is proven to kill you.
Correct.
We legalizing murder.
Correct.
But marijuana, I know for a fact, I had a family member who had cancer. And the only way they would eat would be after marijuana.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I have one too.
So we know the difference. We know nobody has died. It even said that marijuana was not legalized because they thought black men were going to sleep with white women.
But look,
that's where the origination became.
You're not going to stay up long enough if you smoke marijuana. You smoke enough of it, you're going to sleep. Man. You ain't going to OD. You ain't no way.
You're going to sleep. You're going to smoke too much. You know, if you'll pass out before you can do all
Most definitely.
So what's the economic impact? Would it happen? What do you think would happen in Birmingham if we allowed?
Wow. I mean,
Delp is over $1 billion, right?
Yeah, there's no way for Jesus to even begin to, you know, I can tell you that it certainly would have an impact because I don't know how the city would decide if we would tax it or whatever they would do. I don't know.
Right.
But, and the city has broad authority. The city has broad police authority, granted to it by the state of Alabama and the Constitution, and the city can do a lot of things if it wants to. And a lot of things you have to, obviously, some things will be challenged. I believe this would be. But the city, in my opinion, needs to do that. Because if you did something where it was broad as you're taxing it and all that, you're allowing people to set up shop and do all that, you know, then, of course, the impact could be tremendous. But even just without knowing all that and without what the city could do relative to generating revenue off of it, I certainly know that if we legalize marijuana in Birmingham, we would certainly help, or some kind of, in some form, we would certainly help reduce the amount of people that are going to jail for a joint. And that I know would happen, and I think that has even more of an economic impact, long term, than us just legalizing.
Because now you don't have a jail record. Now you can go get a job.
Well, see, I think you're in a good position because you know the possibilities, you know the city laws, you know people that you possibly can be the leader of this movement if you're so strong for it.
Yeah, well, right now
you're gonna pass law.
definitely.
Hey, he gotta get off that, man. He gotta get off.
I'm not getting
law school.
Look, I'll help.
And which law schools? We give a shout out.
Cumberland.
Cumberland Law School.
Sanford.
Now, gentlemen, I don't mean to blow your high, but I have another question for
You
the
blew
former
our high.
councilman.
You just blew it, man.
You just
My
blew it.
bad, but John
Works on
Lewis
getting
says,
fired again, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
John Lewis said he agrees with you, but also he says he takes marijuana for medicinal purposes now, but that's not the question that's on the floor. The question that's on the floor is for the former councilman. He says, what's the best way to maintain and foster strong relationships on the council? Where do you see the problems with the current council?
What's the best way to maintain? Well, I mean, again, it just goes back to communication.
Communication, right?
Just talking. I can't say I can only say that I've worked with 6 of the 9 council members, and I know that those council members are strong-willed individuals, and I know that they they want to make sure that their districts are taken, they're making sure their districts are taken care of, and that's ultimately what they want. I think the challenge will be you have 7 council members, worked with 7 of them. You have 7 council members who've been there at least one term, and so they have a tremendous amount of experience in just city government and how things function. The biggest challenge I believe that's facing them is making sure that they are supporting the next mayor and not their own individual agendas. They can support their individual agendas in their districts, and they can do that. But they need to do that by supporting the new mayor. That's what I think. And so I can't say who's going to do that, who's not. This budget vote will certainly tell you a lot about who's actually supporting the new mayor and supporting what the citizens of Birmingham chose when they elected Woodfin over Bill. So it's going to be very telling who votes for the new budget, who votes for this budget before the mayor, before Randall gets in there, how they vote for things that could potentially impact the future projects. Again, we only have 2 weeks. There's nothing in jeopardy. We're not going to lose anything. Cities will be fine. We're not going to go broke. There's nothing that would prevent or should prevent the council members from giving him that opportunity. So pay attention to how the council votes. Look and see who votes for the budget. Look and see who votes against it. And if you have time, listen to what they're saying about it as they're deliberating. And then it'll be a clear indication, again, of who is actually supporting this new mayor that's coming into office and the agenda that the people elected him to implement.
And don't worry, you guys, we will definitely be watching. We all have eyes because we want to know ourselves. But really and truly, this should be a lame duck administration right now, should it?
Well, it
I mean,
is.
you only got 2 weeks, before you're out of there. So I mean, why would you even touch the budget?
I'll be
leave it alone right
I told you why, but
Yeah.
you're right.
Well, yeah, I know, yeah.
That's exactly why you're touching it up, because you're right. You going out, leave it alone.
now. Leave it
for the
alone.
next one.
Leave it for the next person. Let him do his audit, his fiscal audit. He was saying he was going to do. Let's find out everything. But now with the city workers and the people that I talked to as far as city workers, they are interested because they are interested in their longevity. They are totally interested in longevity, and which I understand. And it's like I'm telling them, but you have to give Randall a chance.
I hope they do. I mean, I hope they do. That's on them. My name is Jonathan Fitzgerald Austin, and
He's back.
I'm in law school. I have a year and a half left.
Cool.
And so I'm just going to keep them lifted up in prayer.
Quick question. Why is there an issue of Valerie Abbott becoming the president of the city council?
That's a good question. I think that the issue that people have pointed out is that you got 6 of the 9 council members who are black, and then you have 3 white council members. How in the hell is it that those 6 council members can't get together and elect black leadership? And how does that happen? When you can't, when in Hoover, no one, this is what people are saying, when in Hoover, no one is going to elect a minority to run the majority city council in Hoover or any of these other municipalities that are predominantly white. So people are, people have said a lot of things about that election and how that happened. I think that Valerie Abbott is a very capable person. I think that she can do the job well. I told her this when I talked to her about it, and I told her that as president, you got to put aside everything that you want for yourself, even for your district, to do what's best for the whole council. Absolutely. You've got to do that. Absolutely. And if I presided as president and just wanted to just get my way all the time, we would not have been able to get everything done that we were able to get done. I just had to put things that I wanted aside for the betterment of the city. So it's, I think, in my personal opinion, about that election, I think it's certainly unfortunate that it's even viewed the way that it is, her election is. Birmingham has made a lot of progress, but we still have a long way to go. And even the way that people look at that election and say this is what happened, and they say that's a shame. Why does it matter?
Absolutely.
Do I think that there are other more qualified or more rounded people on the council that could serve as council president? I think each one of them is equally qualified. I just know that historically, Valerie has voted against things like travel every week. Vote against travel every week. Have raised.
We're going to have to make a quick stop right now. We got to thank our sponsor once again, Jasmine Cafe, man, providing the food and everything. Make sure you guys go out there and check them out. This is not necessarily political. We'll be back in a couple shakes.
Are you deep in debt? Tired of phone calls and credit harassment? Call the law offices of Yeshiva Glenn Blanchard, LLC today. Let our firm help you choose the right path to get debt-free.
I'm attorney Yeshiba Glenn Blanchard. Let me get you out of debt today. Call me at 205-307-9835.
I was over $50,000 in credit card debt, but I called attorney Glenn Blanchard and she saved the day. And now I'm debt free.
Get out of debt now at nomoredebtalabama.com.
Hey man, the Jasmine Cafe. Man, I heard they got some good soul food up in there.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm not necessarily political.
This is a journey.
And we welcome you back to Not Necessarily Political with our special guest, Mr. Jonathan Austin. Got a question before we get ready to go out here, man.
Quick question, or whatever you decide how to answer it. What advice would you give the three new city council?
That's the same thing I would say to the ones that are there. Just talk to each other. Be deliberate in what you do, and make sure that you understand the issues. Nothing that we do as elected officials, and that I did as an elected official, should be what you think is just on you personally, but it should be what is based on what's in the best interest of everyone involved. Absolutely. And those sometimes are tough decisions, but in the short term, look at how the new mayor is going to have to deal with these issues. The city, yes, is a continuing body, the council is continuing government, but they need to make sure that they weigh those issues heavily based on where they currently are and where they will be in just a few weeks. Long term, again, they just need to talk to each other, be deliberate, and be honest and open about how you feel about whatever issue that is.
Man, we appreciate you coming down, man, taking a little time out.
Thank you, man.
I know you were doing your homework. We hate to break up your
Somebody
homework.
didn't think I was gonna be here.
Hey, man, I'm just glad you answered some questions.
Brother, that word, man.
You might hear me
I
say,
am.
Facebook Live, y'all might hear me saying, I say it on purpose, when it comes to Birmingham politics, I don't know nothing. Not anything, but nothing. This guy right here is the one who talking.
No.
I can ask him something, hey, what color is the sky? Man, I don't know.
Depends on how you look at it.
See?
That is not necessarily a political answer either.
Not necessarily.
Hey, check us out on the website at www.notnecessarily.political.com. And also share us and like us on, first let's go here, YouTube at Not Necessarily Political with James Williams and Lonnie Malone, Instagram at Not Necessarily Political, and Facebook Live with Not Necessarily Political with James Williams and Lonnie Malone. Thank you for growing with us and hope you'll keep growing to this day, tomorrow.
It is only the beginning, people. Please believe it. We are headed in the positive direction. Next week, we got Councilor Stephen Hoyt. He's going to be coming up and blessing us with some information from down there from the council. Oh, it's Ms. Tyson.
No, it's Hoyt.
No, it's Mr. Hoyt. It's Mr. Hoyt. Mr. Hoyt.
See, ladies and gentlemen, she works on it.
It's our producer, man. If the TV dad bring it to us, it's our producer. She does 1,000 things, and that's why we're on. Because she's not necessarily political. But anyway, we thank you guys, man. Tune in with us next week. Stephen Hoyt is going to pick it right back up where we left it off. Thank y'all for calling. If you want to appear on the show also, 800-01-12. 800-01-12. And we know we're in Alabama, so we know it's 205. We are in Birmingham, it's 205. See y'all next week.
I'm Jonathan Austin, and I am not necessarily political.